one of the ones that, to me, that I've done that to me kind of brings it to alive more, is I had a person who was doing research into the drug therapy for autism. So that's a great topic. You know, autism is national in scope. You know, it's substantial intrinsic merit. How could you not want to help autistic people? Here in the United States, there's a huge amount of autism. So, and it's national. Autism is all over the United States. So that part of it was easy. It was so obviously in the national interest. This third thing, this third part of the test means you have to show that this person is amongst the best and the brightest. That there's something about them that makes it worth it not to have to go through the labor certification process. So in the case of this researcher, she was a doctor in her home country. And they needed to move this research to the clinical stages, and so they wanted a medical doctor to help them with like whatever it is they go through, the protocols, and on top of that, she had been with this research from the beginning. So they had like 4 published articles at this point solely about this particular, this particular drug and how it might be helpful. So that's how I was able to say that this is amongst the best and the brightest, that she has been so involved in this research that it would be harmful to the research if they made her go through this process. So that's what you're looking for. So to me, I see it as a way when somebody doesn't have quite enough publications or quite enough of a background to be an outstanding researcher, but they have a great topic, and they still have some, decent amount going for them, then I'll go national interest rate. Yeah.
How much leverage the college or the employer has? I mean, I'm saying the college because I work here. So how much difference does it make if, let's say the provost or president writes a letter for the candidate that he's really valuable
no,
to the college?
It won't help you. You're thinking common sense. Immigration's not common sense. All right? What the kind of letters you have to get from either of these cases, whether you go national interest waiver or outstanding researcher, is you have to collect what we call peer review letters. And they're letters from other scientists in your field who are themselves outstanding. So, people who, somebody who has grant money at the University of Albany and has 50 publications, and someone of that. So people tend to go to professors, to PIs, and what those letters have to say is, this is who I am, I'm qualified to talk about this person, and this is why they're outstanding, or this is why their work is in the national interest. So that's the kind of letters that matter. What you're talking about is more political, and you could be the most fabulous employee in the world, CIS doesn't care. Okay, so this is the third preference, and this is the slowest way to do it. And I should say, this is the slowest way for educated people to do it. If you are, this third preference includes people who have a bachelor's degree, and then both skilled and unskilled labor. But at this point, almost nobody starts these cases for skilled and unskilled labor because the backlogs, we're talking 18 years. So there's no point. Most people don't want to go through that. So most of what's in this third category are people with at least bachelor's degrees. And now you're talking slow. No matter where you're from, and if you're from India or China, it's really slow. Now you're talking like an 8-year delay. If you're from somewhere else in the world, you're talking like a 4 or 5-year delay. And the reason is, there are a lot of people who have a BA. There's a lot of people who qualify this way, so there's more demand for that percentage of visas that are available to them. So, and then the worst of all, of course, is that you have to go through this whole process. You have to show that they couldn't find minimally qualified U.S. workers. All right. And I'm not going to go through a lot of detail on this, but this is, and you have the handout. Oops. But basically, this is that. Yeah, okay. It's a whole advertising procedure. There's a lot of stuff that gets done behind the scenes, but it's a multi-step procedure, and it's highly regulated. So, for example, you have to get what's called a prevailing wage determination from the state, and then you have to do something called a job order, which means that well, the first thing I have to say, the first thing you have to do is you have to create a job description, and that's where all the skill comes in. Because how you write that job description and what you put in as the qualifications is what determines whether you're going to find a minimally qualified U.S. worker. So, but you have to walk a thin line, because you can't make a job description where only that particular person fits it. So, you know, like the types of things you'll look for is like if somebody needs to know a particular type of software, you know, whatever it is that makes the job unique. Right? So then you have that job description, and you have to get a prevailing wage determination from the state, and then you have to do this job order, which is where the state takes the job and posts it wherever they post it, and they never ever get anybody, but you have to go through that procedure. And then you can't apply for you can't do a perm application until 60 days after that job order. You know, and so everything is regulated like that. You know, you have to do this at this time, and you can't do this until that time. And if you screw up by even a day, like if you file the perm application at the 59th day after the job order, they'll deny the perm application. So it's a highly regulated procedure. So that's, I think that's what I have, unless you guys have questions. Yeah, that's my thank you slide. And Regina's going to tell you a little bit about how, or she's going to show you where to find the information about getting H-1B on RFP's website. They have, you know, she has a few handouts if you're interested in getting one, and she's going to show you where you can find it also. Yeah. Escape.
So if you're interested in applying for an H-1B with us, or you want to renew your H-1B, I have just 10 handouts here of the list of documents we need from you and the PI. And if it's not enough, I'm going to show you how to get there in a few moments. And I don't know if you have questions how to start an H-1B. I mostly receive calls from employees or PIs from the field, and they ask, oh, I'm interested in applying for an H-1B. So I send an email with this attachment here, and I have a list of, I don't know if I should tell you which documents we need, but it's all here. I don't know, because most of you, yeah, out here. So it's rfuni.org, and then you have to sign in. And go to guides and forms, project directors, employee guide. Click here, and then you scroll down. Click human resources. Scroll down again, and H-1B visas, special procedures for hire. Click here. Yes. Steps. And here's the form. The first step, I always send this form. And from this form, you review with your PI, and any questions you call me. And some grants, they pay for the immigration fees. So you have to ask your PI if the grant pays. Some grants don't pay. When the grants don't pay, and the employee wants the job, they pay themselves with their personal check. And there are two checks, $320 for the filing fee, the Form I-129, and the $500 fraud prevention protection fee. This fee is for the background check.
Yeah. This fee is what they see. Yeah, they take that $500 and they collect it, and then they use it to go investigate employers. That's basically what they do with the money.
Yeah. And then, if you want the premium processing, your H-1B petition to be processed within 15 business days, there's an optional fee of $1,000. To be honest with you, most of employees are applying in premium processing because they're faster. It's easier to reach someone at immigration if you need to make some corrections, some typo. And It's optional, so out. And if immigration